everyone, Mac here, and welcome to the third episode of my motovlog. First of all, let me just start off with saying what a lovely day it is outside. It's a Sunday, late October, early November in the UK. I mean, I couldn't ask for more. I had this question the other day from someone on TikTok. Oh, I really want to get into motorbiking, but is it worth it in the UK, or am I just going to ride for 2 months and the rest of the year it's going to be rainy and shit? Well, look, here's the answer. I know today is quite a rare day, so I don't want it to be unrealistic. There are going to be a lot of rainy days in the UK, but today is one of those days where, yeah, you definitely should ride it all year, because I mean, look at it, it's literally like a summer morning. Don't get me wrong, it's not hot, like it's not warm, it is cold, but the sun is shining and it's late October, so I'm loving life, I'm loving life. Anyways, last episode we talked about my project bike, my Jigsaw, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. It's definitely been a journey with that bike, and as I said in the last episode, if you missed it, I'm going to start a series on actually getting it fixed up and making sure it runs without the choke. But this episode, I wanted to talk about dream bikes and all those bikes that we dreamed of as a kid. Oh, he's not going to see me. Come on. What are we doing? I just ruined my intro. Let me start that again. This week I want to talk about dream bikes, and my dream bikes and your guys' dream bikes, because your dream bikes really come from a place of nostalgia, right? The bikes you remember when you were a kid, or the bikes that really impressed you when you first started looking at motorbiking, or maybe it's the bikes that, you know, that just came out and became your dream bikes. That's also an option, but I think a lot of the times it is the bikes from that sort of past, back of your head, that nostalgia. You know, it might not be the best bike, but it's just something that you remember as a kid that you really wanted. So my dream bike, my first dream bike, is a really weird one. I mean, most people will probably be a bit surprised, or kind of, most people might question my opinion here, but my first dream bike was actually a Bandit 600, a Suzuki Bandit 600, like from early 2000s. And as I said, it's a bit of a weird one, because it's just you know, it's a Suzuki and it's a naked and it's a 600. It's kind of a standard bike, but to me as a kid, that bike was just the perfect bike. It was what motorbikes should look like, you know. Had the big engine, well, not that big, but 600 back then in my head was a big engine, and it still is. It's still enough to have fun, obviously. But yeah, the 600, I mean, it was an inline 4, high revving. It sounded like a sport bike, but it looked upright, and you know, it was quite muscly. It had a big engine at the bottom, a lot of chrome bits. The shape of it was just quite, I don't know, just quite beautiful in simplicity. And as a kid, I think you're not really going off what bike rides the best or has what features, because you're not riding any of these bikes. You're just looking at them. You're looking at them, you're watching people ride them. Obviously you hear a review there, here and there, the sound of the bike, but a lot of the times it's not the actual bike's performance, it's the vibe of the bike, of how it looks and how it sounds versus how it feels and rides. Woo, those are so nice. So yeah, the Bandit 600 is a weird choice, but that was my first sort of dream bike that I really loved, and I think it stemmed from a certain video game. And if you get this reference before I explain it, then you're a real one. The PCJ 600. So the PCJ 600 was a bike in GTA that was literally a GTA version of the Suzuki Bandit. It was like a naked bog standard bike, I guess. But there was just something about it. I really loved that. I really loved the kind of muscle look of a naked bike versus the flashy sport bikes. Don't get me wrong, there are some flashy sport bikes on my list that I'll be talking about in a second, but yeah, the Bandit 600, that was my first dream bike. Weird one, but I'm weird, so here we go. I also really love the SV 650s, and these are more like, I guess, attainable dream bikes when I was younger, and I was looking for my first bigger bike. You know, being on a 125 in the UK as a youngster, you keep looking at bigger bikes, and the yeah, it was between the Suzuki Bandit 600 and the SV 650, so I really wanted one of those. And I actually looked at SV 650 before I got this, but these days you can't really find one in a good condition for a reasonable price, because a lot of people turn them into track bikes, which I might be doing at some point too, actually, but that's probably down the line, you know, in the future. Oh, can I squeeze? Yup. Also, another dream bike of mine, and this is more of a generic answer that I guess most people might share, is the BMW S1000RR. Now, this bike I've loved for so long. I can't remember exactly what year it was that I saw it for the first time, but the first time I seen an S1000RR was actually on the screen versus in person. And it was this Australian YouTuber, I'm really trying to think of his name, but it's not popping into my head. But he had a white S1000RR, and at the time I think it was brand new or fairly new. And ever since that time, I mean, when I watched him daily, and I loved that S1000RR, it was just everything, you know. It was sporty, it was obviously super quick, but it had all the features, you know, and the BMW brand. I love cars too, so at the time I thought, oh, this is, you know, this is the perfect bike. And then the past like year or two, the S1000RRs have become this like staple of YouTube for people to get views, pretty much, because everyone knows the bike. And I also think, when you think about it from a brand perspective, most people in the world know what BMW is. So, you know, BMW hasn't got that many motorbikes, so having the S1000RR being the star bike of BMW, it's like the Ferrari Enzo, you know. It's the main bike of the main manufacturer. So I think more people are going to know about that bike, even if they're not into motorbiking, even like just car guys or just, you know, random people. So I think that's why it's very popular. But also, you know, it's an amazing bike. It's got all the features, all the safety. I heard it's even like quite comfortable. I've never ridden one. I know a friend that has one, a blacked out one, and I'm going to try to speak to him to see if I can get a test drive and a review, because yeah, the S1000RR was my dream bike for years and years and years, and I really think it's going to be one of my next bikes. I mean, maybe not next one from this. I was looking at a Daytona 675, but it will be up there. It will be up there on the list to get at some point. But that's like the ultimate dream bike, you know. Another ultimate dream bike, talking about Ferrari Enzos, I don't know why I made that reference, I think they're just both red. The Ducati Panigale. I mean, I'm not even going to specify which one because there's so many, but the Panigale, probably even a V2, doesn't need to be a V4. I think the first one that I saw that I really fell in love with was the 899. I mean, that is just pure beauty and perfection in terms of design of a motorbike to me, you know. To me, a Ducati is equivalent to like a Ferrari, and it might not be, but that's just kind of my thoughts and how I see it, because, you know, the impact and the sort of the vibes that bike has on the road is like nothing else. You can't compare it to anything else, and that's why I kind of compare it to a Ferrari, because you just can't compare it to anything else. I know Ducati are killing it on MotoGP as well, But I never really watched much MotoGP as a kid, and I don't watch much of it now either. I'm kind of weird like that. I love cars, but I don't really follow F1 that much, or any other racing. And I love bikes, but I don't follow MotoGP that much. I just love the thing themselves, not the sport around it. But I do know Ducati are killing it. And the thing with the Ducati is, like, I just think it's one of those bikes where you get as a sense of achievement, you know. I think I'm gonna get that bike in a very long time, but when I do, I think it will be like a nice, okay, you know, I completed a chapter, I've got a Ducati. And there are a lot of like cool classical ones and old ones as well, but I did hear a lot of things about Italian bikes not being the most reliable, asterisks, you know. I don't want to piss anyone off out there, but that is what I've heard. But that doesn't matter, like, it's a dream bike and it's a Ducati. I don't care how much I have to spend on maintenance and fixing it. That's what comes with the price of owning that sort of bike. So yeah, weird selection: a Bandit 600, S1000RR, and a Ducati Panigale V2. Now, I guess the Bandit is more of a dream bike when I was a kid, and the Panigale and BMW are kind of bikes that I really want to experience at some point. I mean, the thing is, it's hard because there are so many cool bikes these days that I want to try. Oh, tunnel. Noise. There are so many cool bikes that I want to try, that are not necessarily my dream bikes, but I'd love to own, or at least take out for a week or two. Like the R6. I mean, all the 600s, you know, from that era, the R6, the ZX6R Ninja, the Suzuki Gixxer 600, and the Honda 600RR. I mean, all those bikes I want to try, because that was my childhood, watching YouTubers with those bikes, those four specifically. There are some MV Agustas and Triumphs out there that I also like, but those four were the main manufacturers, and sport bikes was what kind of drew me in on YouTube. Yeah, so those Japanese bikes were definitely up there for me on the wish list. And I think also the liter bikes, you know, those are the bikes I really want to try. Again, probably wouldn't want to own for too long because I don't need that much power, but I think just to have them, to experience them, that'd be really cool. Like the Yamaha R1, again, talking about BMW before with brand, the R1 is such an iconic bike, the Yamaha. Everyone knows an R1 that doesn't even know motorbiking, you know. So I'd love to try an R1. The Ninja 1000, the Fireblade. I know someone that had a Fireblade and they said it was amazing, but it was so uncomfortable that it was not a bike to have long term, which I already kind of knew. But nevertheless, I'd love to try one. So the 600 Super Sports, the Liter Super Sports, I'd love to try them all. I also want to try a lot of like bigger naked bikes, so the MT-07 and MT-10. I heard they're amazing fun, so much torque. Another naked bike I'd love to try was an older, I think it was a Honda Hornet. Yeah, I mean, I think that bike sounds like an absolute beast. I would love to try that out. It's like a lot of doors are opening in my head because I jumped on this 650 and I'm learning how to ride, you know, a bigger bike with more power. I feel like I'm, you know, getting to that stage where I'm ready to try some of those bigger bikes. But, you know, 6 months ago, when my experience was 125s, I wasn't even thinking about jumping on those bikes because I just killed myself instantly. Anyways, that's my sort of dream bikes and the bikes I want to try. The list is very long, but I want to hear your guys' dream bikes. So comment down below the dream bike that you've been thinking about or dreaming about as a kid, or are still dreaming about, that you really want to ride, you know? And as I said, it doesn't have to be the most popular bike. As I said previously, my dream bike was a Bandit 600. To most people it's a pile of junk, but it doesn't matter. That's why it's called my dream bike, you know? And now looking at the Ducati and BMW being the dream bikes, I mean, there are so many out there. But anyways, that's enough about my dream bikes. I want to know what your guys' dream bikes are, so comment down below and tell me your top 3 dream bikes, because I really want to see what people sort of what people like these days. Alright, let's give you guys a pull before I shoot off. That was fun. Also, last episode I forgot to film an outro because I was so passionate about talking about my jigsaw that my GoPro ran out of battery. So this time